This is Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen, retold at the intermediate level. Chapter 8, The Scandal. The Gardiners and Elizabeth returned to Longbourn immediately. On the journey, Elizabeth told them all about Mr. Wickham's true character. Jane ran out to meet them as soon as the carriage arrived. "Have you heard from father?" cried Elizabeth. "Yes, but he can't find them," said Jane sadly. Mrs. Bennet was upstairs in her room. She seemed worried about her husband, but she was really worried about herself. "What if Mr. Bennet fights Mr. Wickham?" she said. "Mr. Wickham will kill him. Then Mr. Collins will inherit Longbourn, and we'll have to leave. Where will we go?" Mary Bennet was very shocked at Lydia's behavior. She spent a lot of time reading religious books and talked a lot about Lydia's immorality. Kitty was very quiet. Jane suspected that Lydia had probably told Kitty about her plans in a letter. Mr. and Mrs. Gardiner stayed for lunch, but then left for London. Mr. Gardiner wanted to help Mr. Bennet as soon as possible. The next day, a messenger arrived with a letter. Everyone hoped it was a letter from Mr. Bennet, but it was from Mr. Collins. The letter was addressed to Mr. Bennet, but Jane decided to open it. Mrs. Bennet was still in her room, so Jane read the letter to her sisters. "My dear sir, Mrs. Collins and I are very sorry to hear about your daughter. Her death would be preferable to this. My wife says that Lydia has always been out of your control. I think she must be very bad. Lady Catherine is also very sorry. She says that none of your daughters will get married now because no one will want such scandal in their family. I think you should forget Lydia forever." A letter came from Mr. Gardiner the next day. He said that Wickham had very bad debts in Brighton. He played cards for money, and he often lost. This was the reason Wickham had run away. Nobody could find Mr. Wickham and Lydia. Mr. Gardiner also said that Mr. Bennet was leaving London. Mr. Bennet arrived home the day after. He was very upset. "Are they in London?" Elizabeth asked him. "Probably," said Mr. Bennet sadly. He went into his study and closed the door. Later that afternoon, Mr. Bennet joined the girls in the sitting room. "Lizzie," he said, "I want to say something. You were right. It was a bad idea to allow Lydia to go to Brighton. I've been a bad father. I made a mistake. Kitty," he continued, "I have learnt from my mistake. No officer is ever going to enter my house again. You will not be allowed to go to balls unless you dance with one of your sisters, and you will spend more time on study." Kitty began to cry. 2 days later, a letter came for Mr. Bennet. It was from Mr. Gardiner. "My dear brother-in-law, I've found Lydia and I've spoken to her and Mr. Wickham. They aren't married. I don't think it was Mr. Wickham's intention ever to marry Lydia. I think, however, there's a way to make them marry. If you'll pay them £100 a year, and if Lydia receives her inheritance of £1,000 when you die, then Wickham will marry her. It seems that he still has some friends who will help them. Don't come to London. I'll arrange everything." The Bennets all reacted differently to the news. "They must marry," said Mr. Bennet, "but I don't like my future son-in-law. I think Mr. Gardiner has paid this man to marry my daughter." "My Lydia's getting married," cried Mrs. Bennet, "and she's only just 16, but I must go to London to buy wedding clothes. Oh, what a handsome husband she has. Mrs. Wickham, That's such a good name. How are we going to pay all Wickham's debts? Said Elizabeth. We must try to forget everything, said Jane. I hope they will be very happy. A few weeks later, the newly married Mr. and Mrs. Wickham visited Longbourn. They were on their way to the north of England. Mr. Wickham was joining the army there. Lydia was just the same. She chatted, laughed, and joked. Mr. Wickham was as charming as usual. They were not embarrassed about their behavior at all. Jane and Elizabeth were shocked. Mr. Bennet was very cold to them. Mrs. Bennet was different. She was very pleased with her new son-in-law. She visited all their neighbors with Lydia to show them her married daughter. Elizabeth tried to avoid spending time with Lydia and her husband. But one morning, Lydia came to talk to her. I never told you about my wedding, she said. I don't think you should talk about it, Elizabeth replied. I don't like the way you found your husband. But Lydia wanted to tell the story of her wedding, so she continued. We got married at 11. There weren't many people there. Wickham's friends from the militia couldn't come, so there was only my aunt and uncle and Mr. Darcy. Mr. Darcy? Cried Elizabeth. Was Mr. Darcy there? I forgot, replied Lydia. It's a big secret. Don't tell my husband. He said I must never tell anyone that Mr. Darcy was at our wedding. Elizabeth wrote a letter to her aunt that evening. She wanted to know why Mr. Darcy had been at her sister's wedding. Mrs. Gardiner sent a reply immediately. Dear Lizzie, thank you for your letter. I'm very surprised that you didn't know about Mr. Darcy and Wickham. Mr. Gardiner is also surprised. We thought you would know. Let me tell you immediately. The day after we came back from Longbourn, your uncle had a visitor. It was Mr. Darcy. It seems Mr. Darcy left Derbyshire when we did and went to London. He found Wickham and Lydia. He decided to pay Wickham to marry Lydia. He came to your uncle to explain the situation. Mr. Darcy is a very generous man. He is not proud, but he is a little bit stubborn. He wanted to pay all Wickham's debts too. Everyone thinks your uncle paid, because Mr. Darcy asked us to keep this secret. Now you know, and I'm very happy. I think Mr. Darcy did this because he loves you. He didn't talk about you, but I hope you'll get married one day. I'm looking forward to walking around Pemberley when I come to stay. Elizabeth was very happy. Mr. Darcy had helped Lydia and the Bennet family. Mr. Darcy had been very generous to them all. Mr. Darcy was still in love with her. While she was thinking, Mr. Wickham came to talk to her. I believe you visited Pemberley when you were in Derbyshire, he said. Yes, I did. Did you meet Miss Darcy? Yes, replied Elizabeth. I liked her very much. A friend told me that she had improved this last year. Did you see the church at Pemberley, the church intended for me? Yes, I did. I also heard that you decided not to join the church, and that Mr. Darcy gave you money instead. Mr. Wickham was silent. He never spoke to Elizabeth about it again. Soon Mr. and Mrs. Wickham left Longbourn for the north. Everyone was happy to see them go, except for Mrs. Bennet. Life was very quiet at Longbourn until the Bennets received some news. Mr. Bingley is coming back to Netherfield, said Aunt Phillips one day. He's coming with a party of gentlemen. I don't care, said Mrs. Bennet. Mr. Bingley means nothing to us. A few days later, Mrs. Bennet and her daughters were in the sitting room when they heard the sound of horses outside. Kitty went to the window. "It's Mr. Bingley," she said, "and that other man, the tall, proud one." "Mr. Darcy," said her mother. "Mr. Bingley is welcome here. His friends are welcome too, but I don't like Mr. Darcy at all." The two gentlemen came into the sitting room. Mrs. Bennet was very polite to Mr. Bingley. She was extremely rude to Mr. Darcy. Mrs. Bennet talked about Lydia's marriage to Mr. Wickham the whole time. Mrs. Bennet thought that her daughter's marriage was a triumph. Elizabeth was very embarrassed. She had kept Mr. Darcy's secret, so Mrs. Bennet didn't know how Mr. Darcy had helped Lydia. Mr. Bingley and Mr. Darcy seemed embarrassed too. Mr. Darcy said very little during the visit. As the gentlemen were leaving, Mrs. Bennet invited them to dinner the following Tuesday. On Tuesday evening, there was a large dinner party at Longbourn. Mr. Bingley sat next to Jane. They smiled and talked together all evening. Mr. Darcy sat near Mrs. Bennet. Elizabeth could see that they talked very little. They were very cold to each other. Elizabeth wanted to talk to Mr. Darcy, but she had no opportunity. She really wanted to thank Mr. Darcy for his kindness to Lydia. She also wanted to apologize for her mother's very rude behavior. A few days after the dinner party, Mr. Bingley called again. He was alone because Mr. Darcy had gone back to London. The following morning, Mr. Bingley called again, very early in the morning. This time, Mrs. Bennet made sure that he and Jane had some time alone together. Mr. Bingley asked Jane to marry him, and Jane agreed. Mr. Bingley went to ask Mr. Bennet's permission. Everyone at Longbourn was delighted. Elizabeth was very happy for her sister, and Mr. Bennet liked Mr. Bingley. Mrs. Bennet was sure they would be very happy because Mr. Bingley was so rich. Everyone in Meryton said that the Bennets were the luckiest family in the world. Just a few weeks before, when Lydia had run away, everyone had said the opposite.